tonight. The communities of Barkerville and Wells have been evacuated as the 3,000-hectare Antler Creek wildfire creeps closer to the communities. Plus, 3 all-candidate forums have been scheduled in October at the UNBC campus. And the Prince George Kodiaks started their season on a high with a big win over Vancouver Island. Good evening, I'm Eddie Huband and welcome to CKPG News. We begin this evening on the wildfire front. Well, there was much attention on the southern interior last week with extreme temperatures forecast for the weekend. What really took off was a lightning storm in this region. There were hundreds of strikes in the area of Wells and Barkerville alone, and that's led to trouble. Both those communities have been evacuated as the 3,000-hectare Antler Creek wildfire creeps closer and closer. Cheryl Jan reports.
Lightning was the source of much grief for the BC Wildfire Service, with hundreds of strikes causing countless fires, including the Antler Creek fire south of Barkerville and Wells.
This fire is a monster and it's erratic.
That's how the mayor of Wells, Ed Coleman, describes the Antler Creek fire. His community and Barkerville have been evacuated. Some went to Quesnel while some came to Prince George, and now the waiting begins.
Our team is ready to go. We've been prepared since early May, in fact. We've had the reception center set up and ready to go. We've done our hotel checks. We know exactly what's available in our community. And certainly we're ready for anything that might come out of the Cariboo Regional District, but also there are events happening in both the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George and in the Regional District of Bulkley-Nechako, and we're ready to receive anyone coming from those locations as well.
And the forecast doesn't look good, especially when you factor in the terrain.
So it'll find a little valley it wants to go down, and then it'll get blown a different direction, and it'll jump up a hillside. But yeah, it got close last night. It got close, and I mean to Barkerville, and mainly Barkerville area, like very close.
The BC Wildfire Service has crews in Barkerville working to spare that community.
We have some structural protection going on. I have crews working with Barkerville employees to quickly put up some sprinklers. As you can tell, we have sprinklers on the roofs. This is just to help create a humidity dome over top of all these houses. We have quite a few, as you can see behind me. There's quite the stretch. There's a lot of hose, a lot of water being used, and we're going to use it to help protect this community.
Mayor Coleman has nothing but praise for the hundreds of BC wildfire folks who are battling the blaze, as well as keeping those two communities safe, as well as those at the receiving end of evacuees, both in Quesnel and here at the reception center in Prince George.
Amazing amount of resources on this problem, top to bottom, and our team of citizens in Bowron and Reduction Road and Wells got safely to either the Prince George Center, but mainly the Quesnel Center for ESS services.
He says if residents in his community are concerned or have questions, just pick up the phone. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
2 communities along Highway 16 to the east of Prince George are also being threatened by wildfires, separate from the Antler Creek fire. The Regional District of Fraser-Fort George has issued an evacuation alert for the village of McBride due to the Beaver River fire east of the community. According to the BC Wildfire Service, that fire is 250 hectares in size and is on the north side of the highway. An evacuation order was issued today for 10 properties in the area. The Regional District has also issued an evacuation alert for the community of Dunster because of a smaller fire on the south side of the highway.
So that means getting enough supplies for you and your family for 72 hours, making sure that your house is fire smarter with all those last minute things that you can do before leaving the area, like removing all combustibles from outside of your house, like your patio cushions, your furniture, your doormats, your fiber brooms. Bring those inside. Tape up any of your dryer vents or furnace vents to make sure that embers can't get into your buildings. In a to-go kit, you have water and food for your family. You have any essential medications, important documentation, anything to do with your insurance, your banking.
Out of an abundance of caution, Northern Health has transferred critical patients from Stewart Lake Hospital in Fort St. James to Vanderhoof. And that's because of the Pitka Creek wildfire just west of the community. Northern Health says it will be watching all the wildfire activity as the season progresses.
We've been monitoring wildfire activity and in preparations for the last number of weeks and months, because we know that wildfire season's been starting earlier and earlier, and it's never certain where things are going to pop up. Fortunately and unfortunately, we have experience with these sorts of things as recently as needing to evacuate Fort Nelson, but in years past, not only moving patients proactively from facility to facility, but also supporting patients and residents who've come from other health authorities. So we're also, unfortunately, working with the larger provincial system and perspective in terms of where people might need to be moved or supported, or proactive needs need to be taken place.
We continue on with more wildfire news now. It was a tricky weekend for the BC Wildfire Service and the local crews in Williams Lake. A state of emergency was declared in Williams Lake this weekend as the River Valley wildfire took off. At last check, the BC Wildfire Service says that fire is 40 hectares in size. Now, it has been downgraded to a rank 1 fire, and what posed a challenge initially was the fact that the fire was predominantly within city limits and the jurisdiction of the city's fire department.
Crews are continuing to mop up the perimeter in the fire and push deeper into the fire, around into the fire's edge. And mop up is when crews are just looking for remaining hot spots and then extinguishing them with either water or soil.
We actually sent 2 crews last night, about 6 members, I believe a tender and an engine to assist in Williams Lake. The fire chief would be able to give you more information on that. But I know that they were able to go and get onto the scene quickly and lend some assistance from Prince George.
A vehicle fire near UNBC was doused last night thanks to the quick work from the Prince George Fire Rescue as well as the BC Wildfire Service. That blaze was discovered at around 6:30 p.m. and was located in a difficult-to-access area. But ground crews in direct radio contact with the BC Wildfire Service aircraft were able to coordinate their efforts, extinguishing the fire before it spread into the surrounding wooded area. There were no injuries, and the cause is unknown at this time. The vehicle was completely destroyed in the fire, and it will be removed at a later date. It continues to be chaos in the United States. Things are a little bit calmer in Prince George politics. Adam Burrows will be covering the council meeting tonight. We've got a little preview of what to expect. So, Adam, first of all, last council meeting of July, fair number of items on the agenda, and there's going to be a presentation from the airport. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so the Prince George Airport Authority will be giving a presentation to council. Basically, it's a year in review, looking at 2023, how the airport did, and it was a pretty good year for Y-Access. Passenger numbers were up, pretty good numbers bouncing back from the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. 2020, 2021, 22 were pretty low in terms of passenger numbers, but we saw that rebound in 2023, pardon me. So that's good news for the airport. More people are out there, more people are out flying again, traveling again. So, and they're basically going to show, you know, the airport got a number of new pieces of equipment this year in terms of snow removal and fire trucks. So that's also going to be highlighted in the report. So basically, just giving a council a pretty good overview of what happened over this past year.
And is there anything else that the airport's going to be presenting to council tonight?
In terms of the airport, no. It's the annual report, but there will be. I think that's kind of leading into your next question, is it not, about the airport?
I noticed something else.
Yeah. So basically, what that's all about is council will be looking at changing the zoning bylaw for the airport to allow for a hotel to be put on airport land. And there was a press release from Y-Access today mentioning that an airport is going to be built out at Y-Access right beside the airport terminal, which is exciting. That's going to be some major expansion and major growth for the airport. So what's being discussed at council is just changing the zoning, amending the zoning bylaw to make sure that they can put a hotel out on there, because the way the airport is zoned right now, that is not allowed. So they have to change that.
That's quite interesting, because it could really improve. You know, I mean, it could make things a lot easier for people traveling, maybe coming in from overnight.
From Vanderhoof, from Quesnel, people that have an early morning flight. It gives will give folks a lot more options. They can just stay at the hotel, and that way you're there, and you don't have to worry about driving and you're taking a cab, something like that for sure.
And in terms of a timeline, clearly it's
going to be a few years off. Yeah,
this is not a 6-month kind of thing.
Construction is probably going to start around the fall of 2025, and probably won't be completed around winter of 2027 from what it looks like so far. So still a ways off, but something to look forward to nonetheless.
Absolutely. One more thing to get to. The mayor will be presenting a report about joint responses to challenges that the community is facing.
Yeah, that's right.
What can we expect?
So the mayor wrote a little report basically outlining he wants to see more joint action. More cooperation from MPs, MLAs, federal, provincial, and local governments really come together when it comes to local challenges like when we're talking about encampments or healthcare. So he wants to see more of a united, collaborative effort when it comes to dealing with hyper-localized issues like moccasin flats per se, or the issues surrounding healthcare, not getting enough doctors. Wants to see more of an all-hands-on-deck approach rather than just one level of government getting the burden of the issues that they are facing.
All right, Adam, and we will have a follow-up on all the events from Council tomorrow and later on in the week.
Absolutely.
Adam Burles, thanks very much for that. And in other news, provincial election candidates from 3 ridings in the Prince George area will be taking part in all candidates forums in October at UNBC. These forums will focus on energy transition. The Prince George Valemount Riding Forum will take place on October 1st, with Prince George Mackenzie to follow on the 2nd. Finally, the Prince George North Caribou will finish the series on October 3rd. These forums are scheduled to run from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the Canfor Theatre. The lowest gas price in Prince George is currently sitting at $1.64.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Abbotsford at $1.57.9 per litre. Manitoba currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.42.3 per litre, while BC has an average price of $1.75.6 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit domino's.ca to join the club.
The Prince George Kodiaks opened the BCFC season on Saturday, taking on the VI Raiders at Massish Place Stadium. And it was a back-and-forth game between these two teams, but the Kodiaks prevailed with a late comeback in the 4th quarter, taking this one 39-34. Quarterback Sawyer Thiessen impressed in his debut with the Kodiaks. He threw for 206 yards with 3 passing touchdowns. He also had 2 more tutties on the ground. All 3 scores through the air were caught by Carson Briere, who had himself a great opening week as well. Meanwhile, kicker Brady Harper has yet to miss in his BCFC career. He knocked in his 2 field goals in the game. It's the first time in team history the Kodiaks have won their season opener, and they'll look to build on it next week when they hit the road against the West Shore Rebels.
Overall thoughts was it was a win, so we got a lot to clean up, and that's a nice thing, right? If we came out and played a perfect first game, that'd be tough. So definitely some mistakes and some learning to do. So we'll get back at it in the film room and make those corrections, and then get on to West Shore. It's nice to see the offense find some rhythm, find a good balance between the run and the pass. So that was really nice. Sawyer sat in a nice spot and moved the pocket, got the ball out to people in space, and Carson Briere ended up having a real nice day as well. Defensively wasn't as bad as what we did, but we really hurt ourselves on penalties. Just undisciplined, needless, thoughtless penalties that, we kept them on the field because we made bad decisions on second down.
The 18U AAA Prince George Knights wrapped up their final home games of the season, and they now look ahead to provincials. It was a successful 4 games for the Knights as they swept the competition on Saturday and Sunday. They began the weekend with a close 2-1 victory over the Tri-City Thunder before taking care of the Vancouver Community College Mounties. On Sunday, the Bats exploded as the offense put up 19 runs between the 2 games. With the 4 victories, their record now moves to an impressive 18-6. They also have clinched a berth to provincials, finishing 3rd in the league standings. Provincials kick off on Thursday. The TSX is up 182 points to close at 22,872. The Dow Jones is up 128 points to close at 40,415. And Artemis Gold went down 16 cents to close at $11.24.
Good evening, everybody. Here for an extended look at your Monday weather as we do take a look at that satellite imagery as you see this new system developing out here off the coast. It's bringing with it some cooler weather for us here in the Prince George area and really across vast swaths of British Columbia. Here is your future cast as you see a little bit of some precipitation, a storm front bringing us the possibility of rain and the possibility of a severe thunderstorm. That's in effect all the way through this evening, so something to keep an eye on. highs tomorrow throughout British Columbia. We're aiming for about 20 degrees here in Prince George, much cooler than our counterparts down in Kamloops at 31. On the coast, 18 in Victoria, 22 in Vancouver. So starting to see nothing above the 40 mark across BC for the first time in a long time as we do see those highs. Here in the broadcast region, Vanderhoof 20, Prince George 20. Really, it's 20s all around. Fort St. James as well. A little bit warmer up in Mackenzie as they do expect some showers up there as well, which should be good for the wildfire situation. Try to moisten up the very dry conditions we are seeing here in the region. Across Canada, the highs for tomorrow: Vancouver 22, Regina 29, Winnipeg at 25, Toronto 27, as well as Montreal. Edmonton 32, Yellowknife up at 30. So looking ahead, there is that chance of showers and that cooling off at long last. Maybe some reprieve from the hot summer heat we have been experiencing. We'll wait to see how this develops and what exactly it means as we move a little bit later into the week. Getting into your extended forecast here for Burns Lake. Overnight tonight, 8 with that 82% chance of precipitation before we start to move ahead and see those lower highs. Only getting back above 20 by Friday before 28 and 26 again for the weekend. But those overnight lows coming down quite low, which should be nice to let that heat escape and at least have a brief reset. In Mackenzie, pretty much a picture-perfect same thing. We will have precipitation through the first half of this week before it does start to warm up again towards the end of the weekend. But again, finally, those heat warnings that we've had in effect for so long across the region will come down, with the highs coming down as well as those overnight lows. For McBride, 13 overnight tonight before some more chance of showers. That thunderstorm also going to affect a possibility for McBride as we dance ahead with a bit of a button mishap, but we'll breeze right through. 17 for Thursday, more chance of showers again, heating up as we look to next weekend. 28 and 31 for McBride. Heading over to Quesnel, 10 overnight in Quesnel. Again, a little bit of a mixed bag to start the week before it again begins to warm up towards the back end and Saturday, Sunday. Like so many other places in the region, the overnight lows getting lower and allowing you to cool off a bit before heading back out into the sun. And for us here in Prince George, 10 degrees overnight. 20 is the high for tomorrow. Should be sunny. There is still a slight chance of some precipitation tomorrow, something to keep an eye on. And again, as we move towards the later stages of the weekend, again, heating up to 25 and 24 here in PG.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit domino's.ca to join the club.
Anthony Correa joins us now for a little bit of sports talk. We're going to be talking about the Olympics. And Team Canada, their basketball team is quite good this year. We're going to preview a little bit about what to expect here. So, Anthony, first of all, I want to start with this.
Yeah.
We actually went to the basketball courts.
You're starting with
this past weekend. Yeah, why not? And we're able to shoot some hoops. What was your take on your performance out there on the outdoor courts?
I'm trying to think of my shooting percentage. I think it probably was 4 for 50. If that, yes. I you saw. I think my knees are out, and I'm only 22, 24.
I mean, I said that I think he might be missing a ligament or two in each of his knees because there's these little mini hoops that they have about 8 feet.
Yeah.
And you were struggling to graze those bad boys.
You know, we should have got some video footage.
We should have.
We could have relayed this over this,
and
you guys could have seen me hucking up broken jump shots.
Yeah,
but,
it was quite enjoyable for me to watch. But
regardless, Canada will obviously be doing better than both of us.
Unfortunately, Anthony won't be on Team Canada, but you know who will? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes, he will.
Jamal Murray, Kelly Olynyk, many other players. What are you most excited about with this team as this tournament gets going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the team is just really put together well. I mean, They had a really good time at the FIBA Olympics, came home with a silver medal there, and they did really well. Or sorry, was it bronze?
It was bronze medal.
Yes,
Bronze
that
medal.
was it. So yeah, bronze medal there. But, you know, I think it's just the continuity. It's, you know, this team has been together for a couple years now, and they may not be as star-studded as some of the other teams, but, you know, they're just kind of built together. They have that chemistry. You know, they have the one player they go through with Shea. They got other scoring options. They got great defensive players in Dylan Brooks and Lou Dort. And, you know, it's just kind of built together so perfectly that they can compete with any team, whether they're good or bad, in the nationally ranked, I guess, FIBA rankings there.
Yeah, and including the United States, who many people know will have all the stars, LeBron James and Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, the list goes on. But they've looked beatable in exhibition play so far. It kind of seems like it's wide open here. Does Canada have a chance at earning their first Olympic medal in basketball this year?
I think they do. I mean, I think the expectation should be going into it, earning an Olympic medal. You know, doing better than the bronze. You got bronze in FIBA, but, you know, this Canadian team is just, you know, really, like I said, put well together, and they can compete with any one of these teams. So if they get hot, I could see them winning the gold. It's a bold take, but the U.S. hasn't looked that great in preseason tournament action, and, you know, Canada was staying with them for the most part.
Yep.
The U.S. pulled away. You know, it was preseason, so they probably took some players out, like we kind of discussed earlier. But I think the goal should be going for gold, and I think it's very achievable for this Canadian basketball team.
Absolutely. Other good teams as well. Germany, Spain is always tough.
France is a really good one, yes.
France will be good as well. So, you know, it's not, Australia is another team, so it's not a done deal, but certainly a lot of excitement surrounding this basketball team. Now, Anthony, what did you learn from our time at the court there? Can you relay the mechanics of your jump shot? I kind of want to see how it's looking there. Remember, you gotta keep the elbow in, right?
I think it was Sean Marion who shot from the chest, right? So I usually put like a little backspin on it, and
is that what you call it?
Yeah, backspin, but it goes too much backspin, and it ends up
breaking the backboard.
No, missing the hoop completely.
Backboard.
Backboard. No, yes. So my experience, never play basketball again. So that's what I'm probably going to be going with.
Never say never, Anthony Correa. CKP3, you're up.
Yeah, it's CKP3. You know, we got the top two plays from today, and then we got some sports news as well, as the city of Calgary unveiled something really exciting, and then the Yankees are doing Yankee things, all in tonight's CKP3.
Backboard.
We begin with Juan Soto cranking the baseball.
That one's drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. Oh, what a blast by Soto. He's having fun now. 6-1 Yankees.
That ball is skied out of here. What an acquisition this guy was for the Yankees, and a massive part of their success. Next, new development.
From the mountains to the plains, with design elements symbolizing ice, land, sky, and the home fire, around which stories have been shared and new stories will be told. It will be a landmark attraction in our downtown and the emerging culture and entertainment district.
We usually show the highlights, but today we're taking a different approach as the Calgary Flames have a new home in Scotia Place. Finally, Soto does it again.
That one is drilled to right field, and that ball is gone. More conventional, short porch, second home run for Soto, and the Yankees are leading 9-1.
Yup, the very next at bat for him. He crushes another home run. This one more of a line drive, but they all count the same as Juan Soto takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Hello on the CKPG Today side. Got a great one coming up over here. A little preview at the Vanderhoof Air Exhibition coming up. Of course, it's going to be the BC Day along a weekend happening in Vanderhoof, and a little bit of action in Prince George too. You'll hear about that on the show. Plus, we're going to meet a kid who hopes to be a future Olympian. Adam Seaman, he definitely has the talent. He could end up there, and he's watching the Paris Games with a lot of enthusiasm, that's for sure, after meeting Andre DeGrasse. Cool guy to meet. But I'm not a very fast runner. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest, never made the relay team or the track and field team at my elementary or high school. But over to you on the other side. I mean, I know you're a baller, but are you a runner?
Yeah, I ran a little bit of track in high school. I was on the track team, but that actually gives me an idea, Caden. I challenge you to a race, and whoever wins this race gets to dress the other person when we host our shows. Could be fun. Think about it. Let's finish up our show. On this week's Forever Friends, we highlight some golden labs in care of Love's Northern Animal Rescue. Have a look.
These are the dog days of summer, with these puppies looking for a home where they can escape the heat.
6 pups total, 5 boys, 1 girl, that were surrendered to us because it was just an accidental litter. The family had gone out camping and it was a whoopsie daisy.
These puppies are excited to play and will chew on everything, if given the chance, meaning it's important to find some toys for them to get that energy out.
We recommend going to Paw Street Market, going up there and checking out all the little chew toys that they have. And the benefit with going up to Paw Street is when you do adopt from us, you join the family, and Paw Street Market is one of our families, part of our family. And you go up there, you get 15% off your first purchase with them.
If you think any of these pups are perfect for you, contact Love's Northern Animal Rescue.
If you're interested in applying for one of these little ones, either her or one of her brothers, you can send us a Facebook message and request an application, and we can get one sent to you, or you can give me a call at 250-617-1419.
Andrea has one last piece of advice to ensure you don't end up with some accidental puppies in the future.
Just make sure you spay and neuter your animals. We love the puppies, but there's far too many accidental litters happening, and just do your best to get your pups in, and if you can't get them in on time, just keep them safe.
Sam Bendison, CKPG News.
I tell you, if those puppies don't warm your heart, I don't know what will. But that's all for tonight. Thanks for joining us as always, and we will see you tomorrow. Have yourselves a great night.